BIM execution plans in some cases are being just ignored. They are not enforced, they are not contractual, therefore they are not going to be followed. If we see these problems or if these problems ring a bell, then we have solutions for them as well. When the targets are not clear, we have to make sure we are communicating with our teams more closely and we are engaging them in the creation of our execution plan, which also means that we have different aspects incorporated into our execution plan. If each and every team can give us feedback on our execution plans, then the likeliness of following the execution plans is much higher. It has to be contracted. BIM is not just a line item in a certain contract. We have to have contracted requirements and detailed understanding of what we have to deliver. If the skill sets are different, then we have to make sure that we are simplifying the processes enough that each and every team member would understand what they have to deliver and therefore they can meet their targets. Let's unfold these a little bit further and talk about the enhanced teamwork for a second. Setting clear expectations is really, really important. We even have a motto that we are using in these cases. So the right BIM at the right time by the right people for the right reasons. Who is doing what at a certain point in time? It has to be clarified. Once these clear expectations are set, we have to have an approval workflow so the team members can contribute how we are going to do the execution. So they really understand down to the details what the requirements are and how we are going to deliver those requirements. Then we have to structure the data. You have to work with structured data. Traditionally, BIM execution plans are not structured data. They are a huge document, typically a copy and paste of previous execution plans, of course, meaning lots of non-project related, outdated information from other projects. It takes a long time to create it. It takes a long time to send it out and expect feedback on that. It is not structured. We are engineers, so we love structured data. We love using Excel sheets, for example. So make sure that we are breaking down the data into digestible, easy to understand pieces of information and make it available to the different teams as early as possible. So you don't have to wait for the feedback till the entire traditional creation of drawing, creation of documents process goes through, but you have early feedback directing you to the right direction. Then it has to be contracted. Once you understand who is responsible for what, create targeted agreements with different stakeholders, merge your exchange information requirements, your organizational exchange requirements, all the necessary documents with your responsibility matrices to make sure that each and every stakeholder exactly understand why we are doing the project, what are the principles of delivering the project, what are the responsibilities that they have to meet. Gain executive support. You have to have the right resources allocated for the BIM execution. In some cases, it probably also means that you have to educate the executives on not only on the value of the deliverables, but also the process how to get there. Therefore, you want to invite them into the creation of the execution plan. You want to invite them into a visual environment that helps them understanding what we are doing and why we are doing them. And so we are talking about complex processes, but visualize it and make it easily understandable for all the stakeholders, regardless of their skill set. So first of all, let's define the main stages. Let it be early design, pre-construction, construction, handover, facilities management, whatever stage we are at, we are going to manage information. And we have to identify what these stages are, what these purposes, what these use cases are, because for each and every stage, we might need different information. We have to plan the components. So if we talk about building information modeling, of course, we immediately visualize models. And of course, models are broken down into components, so we have to understand what components we are expecting, but not only modeling elements, but also what are those deliverables, what are those tasks that we have to take care of, and we have to put it into our plans. And once we have these two main components, the stages and our plan of deliverables, we have to specify the requirements. For each and every stage, we might need the same components in a different way. If you are doing a quantification, if you are doing cost calculations or a coordination, you need different information. If you are doing field layout or handing it over for facilities management, you need different information, and you have to communicate that. And make sure that you are not requesting too much, because too much is as bad as too little. So having information early enough or too early is going to result in wasted efforts. Define responsibilities, knowing who is responsible for a certain scope at a certain point in time, but equally important to define the shift of responsibilities as well. Overlapping responsibilities and the problem of duplicates in the models, to put it simple, which of course doesn't help you when you want to do quantification or coordination. Having similar but not identical elements is just going to ruin all these efforts. And then make it visual, make it easy to understand for each and every project stakeholder, regardless of their level of BIM implementation, even those who are decision makers, to your executives who are not necessarily working with BIM on a daily basis. Once we get here, then we have a plan in place. Let's create contracts, let's sign using electronic signatures to have targeted documents and targeted agreements with each and every team. But then let's jump into the execution. When it comes to creation of collaborative agreements, again, the main focus is not to have a long document, which is a copy and paste of other documents, but to really have targeted agreements with your teams, making sure that you are breaking down this unstructured data into easy to understand and easy to manage document sections. And you can release these document sections as they become available. As soon as these documents become available, you can invite your collaborators. They can give you feedback, which means that we fully understand why we are doing BIM and how we are going to reach our targets on a given project. The involvement of the teams and having these approval workflows and having the approval from each and every team would also mean that the buy-in into this project execution is much, much, much higher. Therefore, the plan is going to be followed. Make it dynamic, make it available for each and every team member on your project at any point in time. When it comes to understanding who is doing what at a certain point in time, the right BIM at the right time by the right people for the right reasons, we have to identify the BIM use cases, we have to identify the components and deliverables, and in this matrix, we can easily communicate and visually communicate what is requested from the teams. We can also communicate who is responsible for the deliverables at a certain point in time. And on these information containers, we can start discussing, of course, geometry, because that's a topic, but also information requirements. So information requirements, which eventually in our BIM world are going to be translated into modeling properties, that's something to be communicated and easily understood in a visual interface. Again, helping also your executives understanding what we are doing, how we are doing that, and why we are doing that. Receiving models is a beautiful thing. It means that we have progress on the project, but are those models aligned with your plan? That's a big question. And traditionally, it used to be taking a lot of time to check in any kind of application, setting up rule sets, setting up filters to understand that the model created meets the requirements. Now we can automate it and make it autonomous. Automated model checking means that the models can automatically be checked against the contractual requirements, and with a very simple visual feedback, you would understand if they meet the requirements or not. Green means good, other colors mean not that good. But you can make it autonomous as well. So giving this same technology to your suppliers, they can perform the quality check. So you as the receiving BIM manager, you wouldn't even have to worry about bad quality models because it is already kind of passing a number of automated checking before the model gets to you. Let's talk about ISO 19650 for a second as well. A beautiful standard released a couple of years ago that will help us AEC professionals to work to the same direction. Implementing the standard might be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, so what we are also doing is making sure that if you are using Planoly, you can stay aligned with the standard in a simplified way. So, and Planoly is not only supporting the standard as a framework, but having templates in the application. You see on the screen OIR, PIR, EIR, BEP, risk, mobilization plan, and so on and so on. It allows you, again, to stay aligned with ISO 19650 and gives you a kickstart to start following the ISO 19650 processes. Please take a look. And if you take a look, make sure that you visit planoly.com. That's where you can learn about our ISO 19650 approach, but you can read great case studies and other learning material that you will find in our training or BIM blogs sections. So make sure to follow us on our website, but also in social media to find us and start chatting with us.